Alrighty, let's do this. So today we are going, as I advertised, we're going to be working in Oculus Medium, making a spaceship for an illustration project that I am currently working on. So the the folks over who make the Graham RPG game have generously said that I can Twitch stream while I'm making a ship for them. So Graham is one of those story-based systems, seems pretty cool actually, where you can kind of set the setting to what you want it to be, and it works kind of universally. Um, and the setting that we're working with now, as near as I know, is that Earth kind of joined the Galactic Society late, and we haven't had a whole lot of impact yet. But one area where we are quite good is that we're scrappy and resourceful and wind up handling odd situations well. So we do well in the search and rescue field of the galaxy. So we're the guy. We're like the Coast Guard of the galactic civilization. We come in, or the park rangers, and this is a great idea for an RPG setting because it lets you kind of Star Trek it out a little bit, throw people into conflict, and you have a small team on a spaceship going and doing things. So, kind of a perfect start point for an adventure. And I get to make one spaceship for this, which is sweet and cool. Okay, so that's sort of the world. Now we're talking about a spaceship, civilian, functional for, let's say, 4 to 6 people in a crew. Um, when I think of this sort of ship, a couple of options sort of immediately spring to mind. Being who I am and my background, the first one is the Millennium Falcon. That seems like the perfect sort of ship for this sort of thing. Um, the next one is the Nostromo from Alien. So gritty, form over function over form, really industrial looking space trucker sort of spaceship. The next one would be the Serenity and Firefly. Um, I actually don't like that show very much, but it's kind of a neat spaceship, so okay. And then the fourth for me would be the Bebop from Cowboy Bebop. Those are like my, okay, I'm making a ship. It's bigger than a fighter, smaller than a battleship, um, for a collection of PCs. Um, that in mind, I think we're going to lean more towards the Nostromo on this one. I'll start modeling in just a second, I promise. Um, Neat thing about a ship like this is it's very much in the middle range between it has to be really functional looking and it has to look big and cool and just greebly and spaceshipy. So for things like fighters, like the X-wing, the TIE fighter, they got to look cool for sure, but they look you look like you understand what all the parts do. Like, oh, those are wings, that's an engine, that's a gun, that's a cockpit. When you get up to ships like the Enterprise or a Star Destroyer, make sure am I still tweeting her? Yeah, it's just okay. Yes, yesterday my stream died, so I'm just gonna try to make sure that it's actually still going. Anyway, Enterprise, Star Destroyer, the Battle Stars from Battlestar Galactica. These things just need to look big and greebly and cool, and how sleek they are versus how bumpy, all that. That's just design language. But you don't actually need to know what most of those parts are on that ship. It's just kind of a ship, and you might probably the one exception is you got engines. You can almost always see an engine, and usually you can see guns of some kind. But other than that, if they have them, other than that, it's pretty open. But a ship this size, we're looking at maybe twice to 3 times the size of a current space shuttle. It can be a bit of both. How realistic do you want to make it? How much is one thing going to matter versus the other? So, as we think about it, the components we know we need engines, we need a space for the cockpit slash command center, whatever. And we're probably going to show that a little bit. because the ship's this size, we kind of want to see a little window like an airplane or something, probably. Although there's no reason why it needs to face the outside, but probably will be a separate area. We need a little bit of cargo space, but it's not a giant cargo hauler. So maybe some door for cargo, or just a sense that it could fit something in there. Functional here. Excuse me. So not sleek, not thin, not even necessarily fast looking, not an interceptor, nothing like that. This is a workhorse ship. All right. So with that, let's start seeing what we get. I really don't have a tremendously cool idea yet, to be fair and honest. I'm going to kind of model some things and see what I get out of it. So my space is, there's my bounding box. So we're starting off quite zoomed out. So let's see what we get. So I built these shapes yesterday in Gravity Sketch, which I really like for making, I call them greebles, which is as good a word for anything. But Gravity Sketch is great for making these kind of simplified forms. I don't find it as useful for full-on modeling, although I know people who do, just because it's hard to cut away into things. So you have to really kind of have an idea what you're doing to start with. But I'm just going to kind of start applying a few of these here and there and see what I can get. So you'll see I started with a triangle shaped one. And now I made a whole bunch of different ones of all kinds. There's some square ones. There's some hex ones. Let's go to a hex tube now. And I'm just going to sort of block in some shapes. This is design sketching. So as I said, I don't really have an idea. If I already had a ship in mind of some kind, I would probably draw it in line form. But I'm looking for forms, and I tend to think like a sculptor in this. I tend to prefer building shapes up like that rather than simply drawing it. I'm much more of a sculptor than I am drawing. But I just want to find something that I think is neat looking to start with that I can build off of. That's starting to get to be potentially have some shapes and forms that I like. Kind of like that those go up a little bit. I'm trying to keep things mostly sort of pointed along the same axes. I'm going to fill that in. And the cool thing by doing symmetry like this is these shapes interact with each other, right? So like I can do them off by themselves like that. Or if I do that, then I get a weird shape kind of for free. Just neat to play with. This, like that definitely could be an engine, and that definitely could be the start of a body part here. Let's add a new layer. Increase the res, but not as much. So this one will let me go a lot bigger because the resolution is not as high. So now I can start thinking about things like bigger forms. And now, just to can play with, let's try the move tool. Set to large and with a full inner radius. And active layer only. This works like the smudge brush in Photoshop, and I freaking love it. I love being able to just do that. Because I can make these shapes a lot bigger than they might otherwise be. And it's just cool. We'll see. Sometimes symmetry with the move tool is a little less than perfect because it artifacts out depending on where the actual geometry is. We're staying simple enough here that I hope this will work. I'm kind of just trying to create us a form at this stage still. I don't want to do that. It's kind of an idea, but no. Undo. But I might take the radius down and do something, see if that gives me something I like. It's going to make it more curved. And if I start with the center, that grabs that and then curves around it. maybe. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna want to like cube it out a little bit as we go forward. But I think I might start with that. So this is kind of where we're at so far. It's kind of got a hammerhead sort of thing. I'm gonna need to build more onto it. Um, the next thing we need to think about is, I feel like, one of the most controversial sci-fi spaceship questions for ships this size ever, and that's wings or no wings. Um, Honestly, a ship this big and whatever, wings are kind of, for lack of a better word, silly. There's no need to have wings on this thing. Um, they wouldn't work in the, you know, way that we think of wings on an airplane causing lift. Like, they're just not going to work like that. It doesn't. It's too big, and it's just kind of But we also kind of equate wings with aircraft and vehicles that fly, and frankly, they just kind of look cool. I think, um, truth be told, wings are just kind of neat. So, um, I'm gonna try no wings just because I've built a bunch of ships with wings, but I think we're gonna kind of do bigger shapes like that. Kind of like how, again, if you look at the Nostromo, um, it doesn't have wings, but it has big pods off to the side that kind of act like wings a little bit. I guess they're engines probably in the Nostromo. So I'm gonna try and make this more straight. So I think we're gonna try something like that, and we might come back to wings. You can always add wings to things, but I kind of wanna, in my ideal world, I'd like to keep the component parts of this a little bit more separate than together. I'd like there to be a definite engine part, a definite crew part, a definite cargo part. So let's try to make that a bit straighter. I don't think there's a, yeah, there is not yet a line constraint tool for the move. I think they're going to add one, but that would be awesome. Um, so, um, so something like that maybe off to the side, but which means we're going to need to make the rest of this bigger to kind of work with it. But it's a little too, no. Although, no, we'll start there. Okay. I have to. I don't like that yet, but we can work with that because we're going to add a bunch more parts to it. That's very low res. I didn't up res that one at all. So let's just see what you can tell, because it's a little soft looking in the edges, comparatively speaking. But for bigger details, that's okay. I'm gonna go back to some triangle shapes now. I think we're on top, and I don't like the hole, but from that, I think so. As of right now, this is the back. That's that may change, spaceships, but as of right now, that's the back. So just kind of keeping that in mind as I'm going forward. And let's connect it like that. Okay. So let's go to another new layer. And those, if that is kind of some kind of a off to the side engine pod thing, maybe. Let's go with, let's see, what shape would be cool? A hex tube again? And looking at it straight, seems about right. Okay, that. Okay, and then line it up like that. I love the way you can just sort of match shapes like that. And it may turn around, so that's the back. That often can happen where like you think it's going to go one way and then you're like, oh wait, that's kind of a neat end. And now if we did it this way and this was our front, that could be like a cockpit instead of an engine. And that might be kind of cool. We'd want to fill some of that whole area, but that might actually be neat. Kind of give it more like, kind of has like an angel wing kind of vibe to it, right? Like, so you got a head, you got wings, you got a body. Even though they're not actually wings. But we'll see. We're still, I don't want to jump too soon, but I'm now leaning that direction, whereas I was not before. I think my phone's ringing. 1 second. No, it's fine. It's a Facebook message. Ugh. That's what he. Thank you. The good message. That was covered. I apologize. I jumped way ahead. Well, you're going to see it now. So, there. So that's what I've been talking about for the last while. Well, that thing's been covered with a damn screen. Okay. Right? We can see it. Yep, we can see it. Cool. Okay. I am super sorry. So, I was talking about, and at least I've been talking through it as I'm going through. Like, you got those square things down the side. You've got the hex shape down the middle. You've got that engine / cockpit thing right there. And I am super sorry. I need to get better about this. I can tell I've only been streaming for a little bit. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thank you, Luke. I think that's probably what you were trying to tell me, is my guess. And yay. Okay, so the layer that I'm working on now is that back part there. I'm going to try and keep these layers relatively constrained. Or front is that. Just so I can keep track and adjust textures accordingly. Do that. Keep it more straight though. There we go. And so far, these are all shapes that I've just built in Gravity Sketch in about half an hour yesterday. Nothing, I haven't used anything complicated, and I really haven't done a lot of like painting or draw or stretching or modeling yet. This is very much a kit bash so far. Go with a new layer. And now I am going to try doing, just to see what it does, some shape things like that. So let's roughly down the center. Get as big as it'll be. Yeah, roughly down the center. Okay. And line that up along that shape there. Am I outside my box? Bet you I'm outside my box. Yep. Back in. Okay, now let's do it. I don't think that big, but I kind of like the idea. So let's see if I wait, maybe there. And that's literally just like an 8-pointed flat shape that we have sort of extruded along an axis and given it that. And then I created this one. I don't know what it is. I don't really know what any of these are. They're really nothing, but some kind of a like gantry kind of thing almost looks like. It's kind of neat. Let's leave it. Let's fill down the center. A bit there, not too far. Okay, there we go. Looking all right. A little paranoid now. Still good. Woohoo! Cool. Um, Mistakes you only make a couple times before you get better at it. Hopefully, streaming. I'm sure I'll do it again. It's like messing up a layer in Photoshop. You just do it. Um, so this was a shape here that I made in. I'm just gonna pull it out. Maybe. There we go. Kind of looks like a sword, but it's just it was literally a Photoshop custom brush that I made into a stamp in 3D coat and then extruded it that way. So it's flat, which can be good or bad. It can be neat for using it. Over here, I can see it. And turn on steady and turn off stroke paper. I could just use it like a stamp to make some extra detail. Or I can try, this is what I'm going to try and do, see what happens if we give it sort of a line edge. Kind of makes it, I don't know, maybe aggro? Do we like that sort of chainsaw look there? I'm not sure we like the chainsaw look there, but let's turn it upside down. So, like, which way would I have the chainsaw? I think that's the top, right? So now we're going to try it this way. And where are we going to put it? There. No, same chainsaw shape, but I kind of like it better along there like that. I actually don't like it there, but I like it further along there. Let's select that, turn off line constraint, and erase. So cut that off. And then maybe actually I'm going to get rid of, going to make that bigger. Okay. So some kind of a line thing. Just, I like it. Cool. So I think I have now adjusted where this is going to be the front, this is the back of our ship. So in terms of where things are in the ship, this is the main crew area, and let's say a human being for the purposes of what we're thinking. I'm not going to keep it there, but just to show, it's about. I'll turn off steady. Yeah, human beings about that tall. Okay. So that space would be plenty big for our crew, like control area, and then we come back down here, and then there's gonna be like an elevator, stair, gantry thing down to here, and in here is the main like engineering, medical, probably some beds, that sort of thing of our ship. So that's where the people gonna live. And I'm gonna actually fill. Now I'm just using a cube. But I'm gonna single it. Give me a bit more edging control. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I'll make something cooler there on top of it. But yeah, so that's our cockpit. That's our living quarters. This is going to be probably our engine. Looks like an engine, which would make these cargo holds, maybe, which could be kind of neat. Like they're not large and they can look like they're sort of detachable from the ship. So this is be where you could put like maybe an ATV vehicle for land use and then stuff over here. So these are like where all the goodies that the PCs have could exist. And then I don't know what that is in the front. But That's oh well, that's where it clips the next one in the dock. So right, that just like bumps into each other, and that's the next one. So yeah, there's our like ideation behind how things are going, and I'm happy with that. So now what we need to think about then is okay, is there a door and can we see it in here? Let's do that. Let's make a door. Again, new layer, res, bring it over our ship. Okay. Now door shape. Where's my? I still leave it in custom built. Yeah, I think I did. I need to move some of these shapes around still. But there's my, if you've seen me at any point do another stream, then you know that I use that shape a lot. But we're going to call that, that's our hatch for door for the ship. So that's, again, human being about what? That sized. That's a smallish hatch. Maybe make it a bit bigger. Can I make it, how big can I go with this thing? Is that as large as it's going to let me go? Let's do it this way then. 1, 2. I'm going to try something I've not used before. Surface constraint. Will it let me? It's never worked right for me. No, it's still not working right for me. Bastard. I don't see it floating around anywhere. Stupid, right? No. Okay. All right. Well, then we'll just make it here for this to be like a human-sized door into our space. And then maybe back here, I'm just going to do cut with the cube. Yeah, okay. Which means we need to go back to that layer, which is 3. Woohoo! Love it when a plan comes together. Okay, so that's doorway access to those things. So like some kind of ramp comes down here, and that's how you could drive off that vehicle shape. Put another. On build, cut. No, I would just leave it. It's fine. Okay. So there's our ship way up above us. It comes down. We're looking into it. It's still too a little smooth in here. I want to give it more stuff. The pods are looking okay to me. The engines probably need a little bit more engine. I like this thing down the center. I think I might actually try to do more, something like that, all the way from there to here. So let's go do that now. Another new layer. Bring my shape back in. Okay. And I'm going to use, go back to my custom shapes. Ooh, that could be cool. Again, just some weird, Ferris wheel looking thing I made. I had no idea when I was making it what the heck it was going to be. Like none whatsoever. Hello, am I out? Oh, I'm in shape. Oh, bet you I'm single. I'm on single. Yep. Sure, I lined it all up and everything too. Yeah, bastard. I don't know. Okay, that's kind of neat, but I'm not sure that's the exact language I want for this. Although it is cool. There's lots of stuff, but I don't think it's exactly what I wanted. And it's certainly going to be heavy on the geometry. Probably a little too heavy on the geometry. Let's try this instead. So this is another complete bullshit shape. This one I did make in Gravity Sketch. Take it to there. Yeah, okay. I wish it was a little more even, but let's just, can I just, well, no. Okay. I can dig that. It's not going to be a major part of this. And the other thing that I need to remember on these is that what you're doing something for matters a lot. This is for an illustration. This is not for a video game or a movie. So, you don't have to worry about how cool it looks from every angle, because it's not going to be seen from every angle. As long as it kind of works, probably okay. Obviously, I want it to look cool from every angle, just from a me perspective even. That's just kind of something I like. But it doesn't have to. It's not going to be viewed like this as it comes around. You're not going to be following behind it for hours as you do a flight sim. And it's not going to show up in an Avengers movie. So all of those things. But I like that like spiky kind of ridge thing going on to it a lot. Let's go with another new layer. Oh, where am I? Zoom. Okay, I'm in. Yep. No. I'm in. And now I want to try and do some other shapes. Go something a little simpler that hopefully we can make complex via how we're using it. Let it go. And go back and continuous and line. All right. Now I want to fill this space a bit. Okay. Do I like it going up like that? Yeah, I kind of do. And then we're going to do the same. No, that I don't like as much, but let's try do this way. Okay. Yeah, all right. I can dig on that. Again, if you're thinking of it sort of from a human perspective, it's almost like the back muscles. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weird and no one does that. I do, though. And this shape. I have no idea, but I thought it was cool, so. More of that kind of ribbing, which kind of makes sense from a space structural perspective. You'd want this to be light, so you'd want to have most of your superstructure be not solid, but just empty spaces. Or that's my vibe, and that's what I'm going to go with. Let's just see. It's not how well you make it, it's how well you explain it, right? It's kind of neat. I don't know what they are, but it's kind of neat. And maybe something right in here. Let's see. I'm gonna switch back to just use some different shapes that I haven't used in a bit, just to kind of keep it Interesting. Um, that's kind of cool. Yeah. Okay. Could be some forward thrusters for fine motor control. That would make a certain amount of sense. Um, they are that. Maybe we do the same thing here. Got a little bit on that side going on. All right. Cool. Cool. And then maybe we give some connections to that there, going with our trusty rusty U-clip thing. Not quite. Can make it a bit bigger. Yeah, let's make it a bit bigger. There we go. Right. Okay. Cool. So we got some all important wires for small shapes. And then we can do the same thing there. Just to get the sense that they do something. And maybe the same along here, like that. Not quite. Um, that, no, still not long enough. Maybe they're just not long enough. Can I do it over here? How do I feel about that? All right. No, I think we won't. We're gonna leave off for right now. Okay. So let's see. That hole there is a bit of a problem for me. And I think we're gonna give it a beak. The question is, how sharp a beak do we want to give it? Let go. That's beak. I'm not liking it. Still not liking it. No. But I do want to cover that. I don't like that. Let's see, can I just do... Oh, it's a mustache. That. Which do I prefer? Okay, we'll use it, but we're gonna cut into it, I think. Um, and then we're gonna probably add a little bit onto it as well. Kind of want to, maybe I'll join it to the rest of the body there. Okay. Right. All right. That's better. Um, I don't mind those lines. That's cool. I just didn't want that hole there. I'm trying to think about scale. So people again, sort of, the size of that thing, roughly there. I'm gonna fill that center line. There we go. So it's got like eyes of a sort, which is never a bad idea for something like this. Um, but now, let's see. So we have our cockpit, our engine, our living space, our cargo area. Um, Whoa, jumping around. Hey, you, come here. Um, New layer. And so we can work on it. Okay, I want to put something on the bottom here. And I'm not sure what yet, but I think we're just going to go with some shapes like this. Yeah, I like that shape. Don't like it there, but there. And maybe not angled like that. There. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll leave that kind of empty for some areas of rest for eyes to see. And let's see. Maybe I'm going to put one here. Like it's kind of a door. Um, so it's like our door shape. Yeah, no. I'll leave the top. Well, no. I didn't hate that, but there. No, I don't like it. Not super pumped yet about the back end of this. On the other hand, I actually probably will never show it, so we'll see. Um, just line those up better. Okay. No, still line them up better. Come on. It feels better, but they're off-centered. Um, move. Now they're on center. Point the right way. Yep. Cool. Was they the only thing on that layer? I think they might be. Good. So we've got some clear jet engines. We've got the shape comes down here. Does it have landing gear of some kind? Where would those be? Maybe we need to add just a little bit of like here, just to give it some kind of a sense that like, yes, some shapes are there for that. And let's use this pod thing here and put it maybe there and maybe there. Yeah, that's cool. Maybe one more too. Too high. Too wonky. Still too wonky. Better, better, better. Okay, good enough for what we're talking about. Yeah, okay. So like that's going to be our landing gear of some kind. Whether or not they're actual physical landing gear or like little anti-grav rockets or whatever, but it can kind of like come and then it's just going to there. It's going to make that noise too cuz yeah. So right now this sucker has no weapons that we've deliberately designed. I mean, obviously, having been an 8-year-old boy in the 80s, anything can be a weapon if you say it's a laser. But it has nothing right now that reads as like, hi, I am a weapon. You want to use that same shape and put it there? Those might be weapons because I feel like it's a dangerous world out there. Even if they're civilian, they're gonna need to deal with some stuff, and they're PCs, and no player character in the universe is ever happy if they don't have a weapon. That's like the first rule of PCs. They just get mad if you take their guns away from them, particularly in a space game like this. So now it is armed at least slightly. just rotating it around and thinking. And I'm not sure what else we want to do to it. Anything else on the bottom? Do we want to leave those cargo areas blank? I think I kind of do. Um, this doesn't got a great connectivity to those cargo areas, but that's kind of cool too in a sense because this is outer space, so there's no friction it's going to have to deal with most of the time. So presumably this ship could just jetson those off and go and probably be faster and more maneuverable, which it's always neat to give PCs that choice, right? Do you want to ditch the cargo and escape if you need to, or ditch the cargo and have potentially be a problem? Do you want to um, go nuts with it? In all games, I feel like one of the biggest goals is to give the PCs ways to screw themselves. Seriously though, but like choices that are not good, but choices. So you don't get the option of like having everything work perfectly, but that makes for much better storytelling. I feel like I rant about this a lot in games, but I feel like the Final Fantasy and computer games of the world, the computer RPGs, have destroyed storytelling for players. Players are used to only getting better, only having things improve, getting more gear, um, more stuff, more power. Always, it's a universal increase that never goes the other direction. Whereas storytelling is often all about screwing a player. Oh, I'm outside that zone. Do a new layer. So one of my favorite movies is Escape from New York, which if you have not seen it, spoilers, but it's older than almost everyone now. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, they tell him he's going to be awesome. He's going to have all this stuff and support, and then he gets shot out of the sky, loses it all. Oh, and by the way, he's been injected with something that will kill him in 24 hours if he doesn't complete the mission. That's storytelling, people. That's good storytelling. That gives PCs a motivation and a sense of consequence that the JRPGs of the world, the Final Fantasies of the world, just took away from us as something that's important. And I think we're poorer for it. I wish we still had it. I really do. I think it made for a better environment. Um, I could get political and say that similar things have caused all kinds of issues in most of our world now, from incels and whatever else. But I'm gonna try to stick to mostly just shipbuilding here today. But things don't always go up for you. Even for the heroes, things don't always go up. So if things aren't going up for you, it doesn't mean you're bad or you're not living your story the way you're supposed to. It just means that sometimes there's some things that happen that make life more interesting. And yeah, so you can see I'm adding this part a bunch, but I like this part. It's just kind of a neat joiner, gives some interest, and it makes it kind of feel like there's some structural supporting going on there, and I just kind of like it. And that's really the reason for all of this, right? Is I just kind of like it. Cool. Okay. I'm starting to feel this ship. So we look at it from the top. This is always a good important thing to do when you're modeling. There's our top silhouette of this ship. It feels a little flimsy on the side there, but I'm kind of okay with that. And it's a collection of blocky shapes, so it's not too bad. From the top part of the silhouette, there we go. Again, liking that. If this were Firefly, the big difference was I would take this and just drag it down, and then we would have the Firefly ship. So, but I like sort of more I don't know, traditional naval ship feel to it right now. So at least for this iteration of this thing, I'm okay with this. Um, we've answered all the questions that I had about it, where things are supposed to be, to my satisfaction. I don't know what those are. Um, maybe though, it would make sense. So these, we're gonna say, yes, give them a little bit more. Look in the same end shape that I gave the other one. These are engines, same as the on our main ship, but they allow us to fire off our crew sections as or our cargo sections and give them moderate movement and control. So put one there, and then we'll grab that shape again because that shape is bloody cool. That was in custom built, I think. Where was it? It's a round one. That, yeah. One here and one here. Okay, I'm gonna undo that one. I'm going to quick save because I have had this crash on me before and that sucks. And I'm getting something I kind of like now. So that's always when crashing occurs. Crashing never happens when you don't like something. It's always when it was like the best thing you've ever made. And it's like, oh, and you're screwed. It is the law. Yeah, okay, so they now have sort of minor thrusters of their own to be moved for docking and undocking. So like they wouldn't go fast. And potentially, again, it gives PCs the option of using them as self-propelled missiles like bombs, whatever weirdness might come, it gives you more decision-making tools. And that's cool. Put that there. Yeah. All right. So for in here, because this is just the base model for an illustration that I'll use later, I'm thinking some of this stuff's going to wind up just coming in paint. I'm not going to 3D model everything because it doesn't make super sense um, to make it completely finished that way. Give it a, yeah, sure. And then I have this tendency that I might be guilty of right now of just adding too many spiky bits sometimes, which is a common problem for particularly new designers. Is that, and I'm not super experienced at this yet either, but it's a common problem to sort of think that adding more detail makes something better. Um, used to call it the dominance war principle because there was this challenge from the threads like 6 years ago or so where people would make all this stuff and everything was like, how many spikes can you put on a character? How many chains does it have hanging off? Because that's going to make it badass. And it just made it lame continuously for me. But doesn't mean that I do not fall prey to the same thing sometimes. So I'm going to try not to do that. Just kind of rotating around and looking to see what I got. And kind of liking what I got. I'm going to save it again. I'm going to try. This is a stage where now that it's saved, I'm going to try doing something a bit weird. Just, you should always sort of push yourself to try something. Turn off active layer. My inner layer is strong. And if I didn't crash it, this is a lot of geo to move, which is why I saved it first. But I kind of want to see what happens if I just adjust it out, make it, a little bit more interesting. So if it doesn't crash, you can see kind of this is what it's going to do. And it looks like it's still working. Thinking. Da 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 da. honestly, it's amazing that all this stuff works at all. Like we get pissed off and like it's taking forever and whatever, but like, man, you couldn't. The fact that our technology allows us to do this stuff is just fantastic. I don't know. How do I feel about it? Like it's a little more, but I think I might kind of like it, which I thought I might. Let's see what happens if we just do that now. It's a different ship. Again, it's got more of a Serenity vibe to it. Because it does that up thing, but not hating on it. And I kind of did like the Serenity ship, even if I didn't like the show. I'm sorry. Um, just didn't like the show, guys. So let's just try. Now it's really bird-like, right? You see, we've gone kind of nuts with that shape. Um, and shrink down. I wish it wasn't round because I'd love to be able to do this with a square. That would be amazing. Can I do? Does that give me what I want? Is it still even? Yeah, it's okay. I don't like that as much though. Let's cut that in. No, grab the wrong part. This is where playing just comes in. Like after a while, and didn't we all used to build this stuff out of Legos? I know. I mean, like Legos or popsicle sticks or any of that kind of stuff. Man, I used to do this all the time as a kid. All into just like making spaceships. And I didn't know what I was going to do, and you just kind of played with it. And sometimes they turned out awesome, and sometimes they completely sucked. And when they did turn out awesome, you usually had no idea how to replicate it again later. Um, so I am kind of liking that though. Let's just save as and 2. So I've now made 2 sort of models off the same ship that I can show to the client and be like, okay, which one of these do you want me to finish the illustration with, or do you hate them both? And do I need to kind of rethink? I hope they don't hate them both. That makes it less of a pod, but maybe it's an engine thing that goes on top of the pod. Just trying some different forms. And I'm going to do this for about another 2 minutes, and then we're going to call. Because you could do this forever. Let's new layer. I just want to put something down the center there, right in here. Now that I've stretched it up like this, I just want to have a different part. That seems like a cool shape. And does seem like a cool shape. It is a cool shape. If you don't agree with me, you're wrong. And then, yeah, just give it sort of some kind of a something. So that's got a different front shape. Definitely different. Well, you can't really tell the side shape too much, but definitely that cockpit now sticks out. And gonna save it. And I don't have Twitch set up yet with my Facebook. I actually don't have a regular mic in my computer, so I can't necessarily stream as I'm going through and making more of the ship. But I will post up sort of a design spec drawing of it, like I have been for most of this stuff. And then because the guys over at the Graham RPG game are letting me do kind of show it, I will probably post a bit of in-process work as I'm going through it and sort of some of my thoughts and thinking on that too. I think we're going to call this as a 3D ship for right now. thanks for sticking around. I'm sorry I had it blocked for the first. God, I hope it wasn't too long. But here it is, and you can see it in the end now. Um, and I will talk to you guys later. Okay, thanks a lot.